To what extent, when developing research and doing the fieldwork, data collection, does the researcher have to explain to the informants or participants about the ethical approval of the research?
I saw that question, and I think it should be right from the start. I mean, people need to know just as much as exists about the research. That is the whole idea of transparency. Then they can make their informed decision.
On ethics and review boards, are there levels of ethical requirements, especially studies not involving blood or vulnerable populations? Are there things like soft ethical approvals?
Yes, it depends on the board, and you will still need to put in for an application, but there are different kind of ways that they can do stuff. So they can fast track. So if we take, for example, the moment with coronavirus, lots of people are wanting to do research. So they're looking at ethics committees at the moment, I think, are exhausted, but they're also looking at whether this work should even go ahead, because a lot of it shouldn't, and whether or not it can be given a fast track approval. Because if something's happening that's very contemporary or timely, you haven't got time to wait till the board sits. So they can have a special sitting where they can review it quickly. You can also have something called chair's action. So the chair of the ethics committee might have research that has either already been done and just wants a small amendment, or that it's a piece of research that they can see is fairly uncomplicated, doesn't really need the whole board to look at it, doesn't really need to go through it. So that can be signed off on chair's action. But equally, if you make significant changes, you might have to go back again. The question in all this is that you don't make that choice. You can look on their website, you can find out from them what's going on. And as we heard from Carol earlier with the board of editors, same with the ethics committee, email them and ask. I said earlier, they're not like there to sit there and rubber stamp your research. It's a dialogue and a conversation, and they are a resource. So you can actually ask them what kind of ethics approval you should be seeking and when are the deadlines. Whatever they ask you to do, give them that stuff. Don't assume that you can kind of cut corners or proceed without them. And I think finally, don't assume that research, that you can decide what's sensitive or not. You know, there are some projects that are clearly more risky, more dangerous, contain within them more invasive procedures, but people can become upset or troubled by any kind of study. So, you know, you have to be thinking about that all the way through.